You know, some road trips are all about the journey, but what happens when that journey takes a turn into a nightmare? A nightmare you just can't wake up from. Today, we're going to follow a group of friends whose big adventure took a horribly wrong turn, right into the heart of a terrifying legend.
I mean, really think about it. You're out there, middle of nowhere, just you and the darkness. It feels like the ultimate freedom, right? But it's also when you're the most vulnerable. Because on a lonely highway, late at night, you never really know who or what is out there with you.
So let me set the scene. Our story starts with this young guy, Bhagwan, and 15 of his buddies from Mumbai. They're fresh out of college, and before they have to get real jobs, they plan the ultimate adventure. A road trip all the way across Tamil Nadu, ending with a pilgrimage to the famous Tirupati Balaji temple.
Now, these guys were on a budget, and they really wanted to embrace the whole experience. So their philosophy was simple. No hotels. Nope. They were going to sleep in their rented minibus, cook their own meals on the side of the road, and just soak in that freedom. For them, the destination was cool, but the adventure itself, that was the whole point.
The first part of their journey? Absolutely perfect. Just a bunch of friends having the time of their lives. But on the very first night, the whole vibe shifted. It went from carefree fun to this deep, unsettling fear. And it all started with their driver.
So, it's around 3 in the morning. The driver, this guy's a total pro, been on the road for 2 decades. He pulls over to get some rest. But just 20 minutes later, he jolts awake, gasping, totally terrified. He wakes everyone up and says something that just sends a chill down their spines. We have to turn back. Now.
He tells them about his dream, and the details are just horrifying. It wasn't just a crash. He said he saw the bus go flying off a cliff. He saw all of them die, and then he saw their souls rise up from their bodies and go to another world. Now think about that for a second. They always say you wake up before you die in a dream, right? So how in the world could he have seen what happened after?
The boys, they're young, full of confidence. They try to calm him down. Hey, it was just a bad dream, they say, probably from the stress of driving so long. The driver is clearly shaken, but reluctantly he agrees. He gets back behind the wheel, and the trip continues. And that was a decision they would all come to regret.
The very next night, around 11 p.m., the group pulls over to cook dinner. They're in this super remote, desolate area, but hey, they feel safe enough. They had absolutely no idea that their simple meal was about to send out, well, an invitation into the darkness.
Okay, so to understand what's about to happen, you need to know about this creature from Indian folklore. It's called the Chalawa. This isn't your typical ghost that rattles chains. No, this is a shapeless entity, a master of illusion. It doesn't hurt you physically, it gets inside your head. It twists what you see and feeds on your fear.
So, what were the guys cooking? A feast of fried pakoras, khichdi, and pickles. And without knowing it, they were basically setting a trap. See, according to the old stories, the strong smells of oily, sour, and sweet foods acts like a beacon for negative energies, especially in deserted places. They were pretty much ringing a dinner bell for whatever was lurking out there in the dark.
After their meal, everyone crashes, falls fast asleep. Around 2:30 in the morning, the journey starts again. The bus is flying down this empty highway, going almost 100 kilometers per hour. And that is when Bhagwan, who was kind of dozing by the window, saw something impossible. He kind of wakes up to a cold draft and just glances out the window. And right there, keeping perfect pace with the speeding bus, is a woman holding a small child. His brain just can't process it. He thinks, I must be dreaming, and shakes his head. But just a few minutes later, he feels that same chill again. He looks. She's still there, and this time, she turns her head and looks right at him.
Absolute terror just takes over. He screams at the top of his lungs, "Driver, stop the bus!" The driver slams on the brakes. The screech of the tires wakes everyone up in a jolt of panic and confusion. People are yelling, "What is it? What happened?" Bhagwan, totally breathless, just points into the darkness ahead.
The bus goes silent, the engine just idling. The headlights are cutting this bright path through the pitch-black night. And there, standing right in the middle of that path, was the woman. The driver's dream, the thing at the window, it had all been leading up to this exact moment. At first, they were just confused. It's a woman holding a kid, just standing there. But as their eyes adjusted to the sight, a wave of pure primal fear washed over every single person on that bus. Because this was no ordinary woman.
They saw her feet were twisted around, pointing completely backwards. Her eyes weren't human. They were glowing with this sickening crimson-red light. And then, her mouth. It began to stretch open wider and wider, way beyond any human limit, and it revealed rows of these long, sharp, stained teeth.
They knew exactly what they were looking at. This was the Trudail, a demonic witch from the darkest stories. In absolute terror, all 16 of them started chanting the Hanuman Chalisa, this powerful Hindu prayer for protection. They were screaming the words, their voices all together in fear. But the creature? It just stood there, unmoving, unaffected.
The driver, shaking, he tries to put the bus in gear, but he's just paralyzed with fear. He can't move. In one final desperate act, he throws open his door and just screams one word: run. Their only option was to escape into the pitch black night and hope they could find some kind of sanctuary.
And that's exactly what they did. All 16 boys and the driver scrambled out of that bus and just ran. They ran blindly into the darkness, away from the road, away from those glowing red eyes. They had no idea where they were going. They just knew they had to get away from that thing. As they're running, stumbling in the dark, one of the boys, Suresh, he yells out. He's pointing down into this ravine right beside the highway. And there, fluttering in the breeze, was a small orange flag, the sacred flag of Lord Hanuman, the god of strength and protection.
It was a literal miracle. They scramble down the slope and find this small, ancient temple, completely hidden from the modern road up above. It was a sanctuary. They rushed inside, collapsing at the altar, praying for deliverance from the evil that was hunting them down.
They stayed in there for a good half hour, just praying like crazy. Finally, they get up every last bit of courage they have and creep back up to the highway. The road was empty. The creature was gone. They sprinted to the bus, jumped in, and the driver just floored it. He didn't stop or even look back until they saw the city lights of Chennai.
You know, their whole ordeal is this chilling reminder of lessons we sometimes forget. That those old folk stories, maybe they're actually warnings. That simple actions can have consequences you can't even imagine. And that in moments of absolute terror, sometimes faith is the only shield you have against the darkness.
They did complete their pilgrimage, thanking God for their survival. But you can be sure the memory of that night on the Chennai highway would haunt them forever. And it kind of leaves us with one final, unsettling thought, doesn't it? The next time you're on a long, dark road, what unseen things might be waiting for you, just beyond the reach of your headlights?